Creating content is one of my biggest passions, right alongside acting and music. I put a lot of time and effort into making high-quality videos and podcast episodes for you all. If you'd like to support my work, you can send anything via Cash App at $Douglas Folk Jr. Your support helps me continue making my videos the best they can be. Every bit of support keeps the creative fire burning. It truly makes a difference.
I wanna hear your thoughts. I wanna hear your sound. And mama always told me to shout and speak my mind out loud. Come on and talk when you got the time. Freedom, want you on the line. We wanna hear from you. You got it going. Let your voice shine. Platform yours is not just mine. We wanna hear from you. You got it going. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. You're gonna shine. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. You're gonna shine.
The song you just heard was Talk to Me, the Freedom Savage podcast theme song. You can listen to the full version of this song wherever you listen to music. Don't forget to check out 741 Quarantine Studio Remix featuring Quay and Douglas's new mixtape, Freedom Savage, the Mixtape. The links to all songs will be under this video in the description below.
The following information you are about to hear will describe gruesome acts of violence. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey y'all, what's up? It's your boy Douglas, or you could call me Freedom. We are in our first segment. This is the first time you guys are seeing me and Tati just really in the full gag, full effect. Can you hear my background?
I can. I never could.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have the AC on, it is a little hot. I might turn it off because I am a little under the weather, or I feel like I'm going to be under the weather. So just pray for me. I mean, by the time y'all are watching this episode, I'll be just fine. I do kind of feel like my sinuses and stuff beginning to bother me. So if I sound a little weird throughout this episode, just forgive me. I did take some Tylenol earlier along with my allergy medication, so I should be fine. I did want to say that I have added to my plushie collection. My girl Suba, shout out to Suba, she gifted me 2 plushies, one of them being a fox, I believe. I haven't named the fox yet. It's right here. Oh, right here.
Fox.
Okay, and this one, I don't know. Is this a washing machine?
It looked like a washing machine, yeah. I think. Or a camera.
Look at that camera.
Oh, a okay, I could see a camera.
I have to figure out a name. On this episode of the podcast, I wanted to dive deeper into a very important topic that I brushed upon before in the podcast in season 3. We are going to be discussing healthcare, something that connects us all as human beings. We will be breaking down this topic throughout the episode in 3 major parts. So in this first segment, we will be tackling Black women in healthcare. For Freedom of Speech Part 2, we will be discussing queer rights and transgender people in healthcare. Savage Court, which yes, y'all, Savage Court is back in full effect, but we will be reviewing one healthcare related case, and I bet you guys can already expect what case we're going to review. Yes, we are going to review the unaliving of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. I hope I'm getting all of that correct, who was allegedly unalived by Luigi Mangione. He's the boy that everybody was lusting after on Twitter earlier this year. The unaliving of Brian Thompson did reignite this ongoing issue of healthcare that I'm pretty sure all of us could write a book about our healthcare experiences. It actually made me reflect on how kind of privileged we are as New Yorkers to be experiencing healthcare in a sense, because we don't necessarily have to worry about, if you have insurance, for the most part, you don't really have to worry about paying no real bill compared to if you live down south or California. I know in certain parts it's you're paying a bill just for the ambulance.
I feel like out here, as long as you have insurance, you're fine, but that's just here.
You'll be surprised how much shit you would really need to fend for on your own outside.
Yeah, outside of New York. I remember when I gave birth, I had got the bill. They just send it how much it is.
To pay to have your kid.
Right. I had insurance, but they sent it to just show the breakdown, and that shit was $37,000. I was like, whoop. And that was no ambulance, because when I gave birth, I never took an ambulance.
I do have notes that Tati and I are going to be referring to throughout this entire episode. So you're going to see me look down a lot because, without them, I will be stuttering up a storm child. Tati, introduce yourself. Tell the listeners and viewers where they can find you, just where they can reach you, because my girl is in her content bag, as said last episode.
I'm Tati. My pronouns is she, her. You can find me on Instagram. I am Tati 4 eyes _ Oh, and YouTube, need to check. This summer, I really want to post a lot more content very soon, but that is where you can find me.
I want to know about your healthcare experience. Are you comfortable with all of your doctors that you have now, whether that be like your primary care, gynecologist, dentist, whatever? How has your experience been and how is it right now?
Being a Black woman, I've never seen as far as like any type of biases personally until I gave birth to my daughter. I actually was in active labor when I went in. So we're going to backtrack a little.
It all started when you were born.
March 18th, 1990. And so I had my daughter on a Friday. We're going to backtrack to Monday. I was in I think it's called pre-labor. That's when you are in labor, you are contracting, but it's not consistent enough for them to admit you. It was just like random contractions. It wasn't consistent enough for me to go to the hospital. At first I thought it was Braxton Hicks. Braxton Hicks are like fake contractions. Then Wednesday, it was like frequent. And then I'm like, okay, my mom was like, maybe you should go to the hospital because she told me a similar story when she was pregnant with my brother, just to be safe, whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'll go in. And I went in. I didn't contract at all. This girl was just still. I'm just like, embarrassed me. They sent my ass right home. And they're like, what contractions? I'm like, I swear I was having They like, yeah, we can't do nothing. You got to go home. So then come Friday, the contractions were being way more consistent. And then it wasn't until like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon that I realized I've been in active labor all fucking day because I was so used to the contractions all week that I kind of blocked it out. Now, when I get there, as I said, I'm in active labor.
How do they feel?
Since you're a guy, you wouldn't understand. Like, I can explain it to a girl who maybe has no kids because it feels like period cramps. When you're contracting, that the uterus is basically doing this. It's pushing the baby out. And when you're on your cycle, the uterus is doing this. It's pushing the blood out. I don't want to be too graphic, but what's going on in your cycle with your uterus is the same thing that's going on during labor. The uterus is contracting. It's doing this.
You just either have to be a woman or a person with a uterus that
Yeah.
It's
just uncomfortable. Like, it's just a very tight feeling. I don't know how to explain it to you, but it was 10 minutes apart throughout the whole day from the time I woke up until like 3, 4. And then by the time I got to the hospital, they were 2 minutes, a minute and a half apart. So I was ready to go. They hooked me up to the stuff. They saw my contractions were very, very, very like a minute, 2 minute intervals. Why they sat me in the little office part to fill out paperwork? I didn't even get to take my clothes off yet.
And the chick really walked up like, hi, can you sign this?
Yeah, not even walked up. They just led me to the room and I'm sitting down and I'm signing paper after paper. Fully clothed. I didn't get undressed.
Wait, they didn't put you on a bed? Nothing?
I didn't even get a bed yet. No gown, no nothing. Everything on. I'm filling this out and contractions are a minute apart at this point. 1 minute. Like, I could barely even... Like, nobody is even showing any type of concern. They just see me contracting and I'm stopping and I'm going back and I'm stopping and I'm going back. And they're just waiting for me to fill that stuff out. Then gave me a bed. So took all my stuff off. I'm finally in the bed. And now with my daughter, I had to have a C-section, a scheduled C-section. I was fighting it my whole 9 months, but it's actually good that I did have one. It's time for me to get an epidural so they couldn't give me a C-section. And this doctor, he's a white man, giving me my epidural. He is literally so frustrated and angry at me saying that I'm not being still. Like, oh, you have to sit still or I'm gonna have to put you under if you don't be still. And he keep like poking me, having to take it out, poking me, having to take it out. Mind you, I'm like, I know for sure, for a fact, I'm not moving. These contractions are killing me, but I know I'm not moving. I'm not moving at all because I know all the horror stories of an epidural. Any little thing, you're paralyzed. So even though the contractions were killing me, I made sure I'm not moving. I'm not about to move. When that contraction come, I would just like hold the pillow really tight or whatever I had in my hand, I would hold it really, really, really tight.
I know what an epidural is, but I didn't know like it was that like risky.
Yes, the slightest thing could go wrong and then you could be paralyzed. Yeah, he was telling me not to move. He was being really like very agitated with me. And the nurse had came in front of me. She was like, okay, hold me. Whenever you feel contractions, just hug me really, really, really tight. I did that. Even though I wasn't moving in the first place, I did that. He was still being very agitated with me. The pregnant one that's in labor, this white man, he stopped after like 6, 7 times of sticking me and got someone else.
Was your boyfriend there? Was he present when you
Yeah,
had?
he had came because he had came off of work. He had came when they were like inside of me already. Then
So
he
he
had
could hear the doctor barking on you and
no,
like,
he came like while they were pulling her out. And then
imagine him walking in. That was easy.
that's what he said. He was like, that was so quick. It was quick for you, not me being in labor for a whole week. Yeah, so the second doctor came and did it first try. No problems. And the other one, I don't know what his problem was. He was so agitated. He didn't give me my C-section. He wound up just leaving the room. I'm like, but why are you so mad? Like, why are you so upset at me, the pregnant woman in labor, contracting, saying that I'm moving? And then at some point, I'm like, I'm not moving. When I spoke, he got more mad. I'm like, what is wrong with him? That's when the nurse stepped in.
How dare you talk to a pregnant woman like that? Like,
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to put you to
pushing
sleep.
a baby out of me. You're probably overwhelmed and just it's a
First of all, it's cold as hell. So Ariel is my second child. When I had my first child and I got the epidural for my C-section, I had got it in my labor and delivery room. With Ariel, it was so quick. They were moving so fast. As soon as I even got into my gown, my bed was being pushed to the OR. I did not get my epidural until I was in the OR on the table itself. So it was cold as hell in there. All these machines going, so many doctors, and they have the baby thing over there. They're getting ready. So it's a lot going on. Can you like be in my shoes for a second? Like, this is a lot right now.
yeah, consider it. What the
Whole ass is out. I'm naked. Like, and my boyfriend is not here yet. He's on his way. So right now, in this moment, I'm by myself.
were you
So
scared?
I wasn't. I didn't start getting a little nervous until I noticed that he was becoming a little too agitated. And then I'm like, like I don't know what the fuck is about to happen when I go under because I'm gonna be numb. I don't know what like, I don't know. Is he gonna be the one doing my surgery? Like, because I'm not liking his energy, but he wasn't, thank God. I feel like that was like the most intense time where I felt the bias because I'm like, if I was a white woman, would he have been that agitated with me? Like, would they have sat me down to sign papers and my contractions are 1 minute apart? I was also by myself. So it was like, are you guys being judgmental, stereotypical, or something like that? I'm not by myself, like, period. I'm by myself because her father is on his way. Like, and I'm not even comparing to other people's pregnancies. I'm comparing my own 2 pregnancies. When I was in labor with my son the first time, I went in labor Thanksgiving, so he was off from work. So he was able to come into the hospital with me, along with his mom as well. I felt like the treatment that I had then when I had actual people around me was different than when I went with Ariel because the circumstances were different. He was at work. He got to come from work. I think everyone was at work at that time. But they're looking at me like I'm by myself and
Yeah.
whatever. So I felt like they did all of that being like stereotypical and judgmental and just biased, racist, period, because you think I'm by myself. But I'm not. My people on the way. Like, if this was the first time and y'all had sat me down and signed some papers, the first time I gave birth, I didn't sign anything besides the birth certificate. The
Was
next
it
day,
the same hospital or was it two different hospitals?
same hospital, same hospital.
Wow.
When I went into labor the first time, yes, my water broke, so I was in active labor, but I wasn't dilated. I wasn't having contractions. That would have been a time where I would have understood, okay, I'm signing papers because I don't feel any pain. Yes, my water broke, but I'm not dilating really yet. So this calm period right now would be a time for me to sign papers. Not this second pregnancy when I'm in active, painful labor, contractions 1 minute apart. That's not when you sit a pregnant woman down to sign papers.
At all.
At all. With Rico, I did not have any. I was having contractions, but I didn't feel the pain for some reason. I don't know. And I wasn't on epidural. So why would you guys make me sign it this time? Afterwards, when I was comparing the two, I'm like, I think they looked at me like a single black mom and they just did whatever they wanted to
Still
do.
wanted to do. If I was
Like,
a medical care professional, my only goal would be to make sure that you're delivering your baby safely and you're as comfortable as humanly possible.
right. Like, why would I bring some papers to you to sign?
All of that could be done afterwards.
After I'm gonna be here for 3 days. Like, when you give birth vaginally, you stay in the hospital for 2 days. C-section is 3 days. I'm gonna be here for 3 days. Why are you making me sign this right now? You can give this to me tomorrow.
There's definitely a racism aspect.
When I was pregnant with Ariel, I feel like I got stereotyped a lot and I didn't even notice it until afterwards. One day I was outside. I don't remember where I was. And I was by myself, very much pregnant. And this woman kept looking at me weird, kept staring at me. And I'm just like, is she staring at me or something behind me? What? It's like she wanted to say something but didn't. And then she wind up saying something. She's like, how old are you? And I told her my age. She was like, oh, I thought you were like 15. It's like, oh, whew. Like, even if I was, what, you was just staring at me, judging me? Why are you, would you giving me
Why?
faces
Why?
like looking at me all like that? Like, you a grown ass woman.
Not for nothing. I was actually on the phone with my dad yesterday and I was telling him, I was like, Dad, if we switched bodies with women today, we could not handle it. Being friends with you, you've taught me a lot about pregnancy and you helped me realize that it doesn't end at just giving birth to the kid. A friend of ours, shout out to Jackie, invited me to his housewarming the day before yesterday. And I spoke to one of our friends and she was telling me about how her aunt literally like broke her pelvis
Mm-hmm.
giving birth to her kid. And she's now
That
walking
happened.
around with a broken pelvis.
During pregnancy, you can lose your teeth. That's why when you're pregnant, you aren't supposed to go to the dentist or eye doctor because pregnancy messes with your teeth and your eyes. So if I go to the eye doctor and I'm pregnant and I get a prescription, that prescription might not even be the same anymore after birth because it was the pregnancy that messed up my eyesight.
I didn't even know that.
Because when you're pregnant, obviously the baby is getting all of these nutrients from you, all of these vitamins. And the main vitamin that pregnancy takes from you is vitamin C for your bones, bone loss. So that's why the teeth come out when you're pregnant. Some people, their feet can grow permanently, like a shoe size. I feel like when I was pregnant, my feet kind of got smaller because I've been a 5.5 ever since I had my daughter. I don't know why. I've never been that low since like 5th grade. I've been a size 6 for as long as I can remember. Your feet can grow or get smaller. Your facial structures can differ. Like, but I know the main thing that a lot of women went through was the teeth. A lot of women lose their teeth during pregnancy.
And hair loss.
And when I was pregnant with Rico, my hair grew. When I was pregnant with my daughter, my hair fell out. Two different things. And then after I had her, it grew back. Some people suffer from hair loss, period. Like after they have their child, their hair isn't full anymore at all. They don't get it back. Eyesight as well. I feel like my eyesight got worse as well when I was pregnant with Ariel because after that, my prescription changed.
Then when you factor in postpartum, so many things, it's a long list. And then I feel like there's some stuff that we're still discovering now when it comes to pregnancy. When it comes to men, we really need to be mindful of what we say when it comes to women. And then you hear these like red pill assholes and all types of crap. It's like men have so much stuff to say about women because we don't have to deal with it. We lack the consideration. And although I'm one of those men that empathize with females a lot, like you said, because I don't exist in a female's shoes or a person who has the anatomy of a female's shoes, I will never understand what you guys go through. I will never understand it. Men do not have a place to comment on women's bodies, what women should do with their bodies, what should go on as far as women or people with similar anatomy to women giving birth. If you know me, you know that I'm completely against it. If men had to be in women's shoes, we could not handle it. We couldn't handle it.
No, like
We wouldn't be so quick to say careless shit like,
yeah,
she's
exactly.
just on her period. You could feel like,
Yeah,
you
like
hear those jackasses, you know?
mhm. That too, after pregnancy, your period can change. I used to have like a light cycle, but after I've given birth the first time, it's been very different. It's longer and more painful permanently. Like it has not even gone back. For some women, it could be the opposite. It used to be very heavy or whatever, but now it's lighter after pregnancy. There's so many changes. When men say like those careless things like that, it's just like you're being emotional because like you don't understand how much our bodies are affected so much every single day. Like it's ridiculous.
I obviously am not a woman. Like, we share two different experiences when it comes
Mhm.
to healthcare. And I can say that as a man, I have not gone through as much discrimination. However, being a plus size, tall black male, there's a very unique type of discrimination and lack of care that I get. Most recently, and I think I told you about this, last year, I did have the unfortunate pleasure going to a dermatologist for the first time because I have seborrheic dermatitis or seborrheic dermatitis. I spoke about it on the vlog when we went to Atlantic City. It's under care now, but I'm actually going to see a new dermatologist this month. But the dermatologist that I had spoke to, he was racist to say the least. He alluded to my hair being fake. When I told him that, I don't really wash my hair too often. The secret for locks is you kind of have to let them grow and just kind of like leave it alone.
And Black people, period, we're
We
not
don't
supposed
have
to
to
wash
wash our
our
hair as
hair
often.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not dire for us to wash our hair often, which I
Not
didn't.
healthy, to be honest.
We create nutrients that helps our hair grow. He was an old white male doctor. I could obviously tell right off the bat, okay, like you're not getting it. You're not getting the tea because you don't understand this. You don't understand what it's like to have hair like this. He alluded to my locks being fake and telling me I should cut them off if they're preventing me from washing my hair every day. And he looked at me as like so disgusting for like saying that I don't wash my hair as often. He literally looked at me like I was crazy. Like, are you serious?
When it comes to dermatology, as far as our skin and our hair, I feel like solely that should be a Black doctor when it comes to our skin and our hair because they don't understand that.
You said verbatim what I said when I left the office. I was talking to Claudia, shout out to Claudia. I was talking to her about just the fact that I feel like in this field specifically, we
Yeah.
need Black doctors because I feel
hmm
like only a Black person will really be able to understand what it's like to have to
hmm
with 4C hair and
Yeah.
locks and all of those
Like
things.
a Black doctor wouldn't have asked you about washing your locks. Like,
They would have given me hair tips and stuff like that and probably more unique ways of taking care of my hair being
yeah,
that I have locks.
not looking at you crazy because you say you don't wash your locks every day.
When it comes to plus size people in medical care, we do face a unique amount of discrimination,
hmm
because I have like a football player, security guard kind of body. I'm very tall. I'm a really big person and I weighed a shit ton growing up. I remember being put down by a lot of doctors. Like fat phobia and stuff will lead us into a whole different conversation. And people using health as a gateway to be fat phobic is a whole nother conversation. Something that I actually feel like artists like Lizzo speak on really, really well. Really love her journey and appreciate her so much. I faced my own set of discrimination with that. There were moments where I didn't really want to go to the doctors for a checkup because I was just so afraid of being told, you need to lose weight. Because like my pediatricians in the past would make it such like this big deal. And at the time, it really was like I was in need of like really needing to lose weight. Thank God I have lost tons of weight in the last couple of years. It was just how they went about it, the delivery. And when they weigh you, like, because I was considered obese. However, when everybody looked at me, I did not look the size that I was because I was tall. So the weight was able to kind of like smooth its way out. Had I been shorter, I probably would have been more wider, would have been a little bit more visible. But I didn't even look my way. And, for people who have the similar body type as me, you have to weigh us differently. We cannot go by the same metrics you would put for your average person. You cannot judge everybody by the same statistics, by the same chart.
My daughter Ariel, every time she's been to the doctor since she was born, she's always been over the weight that they say she should be. It's not like it's like, okay, she was at this weight and then she drastically went up. Is she eating more? Is this going on? Is there a health issue or whatever? If y'all see in her whole entire little 6-year history that she's, been at these weights and growing at these intervals, what makes you think that, oh, she has to eat less or whatever? Her last doctor's appointment were them telling me that she's over the weight that she's supposed to be and that she has to cut down on this and cut down on that. And then the doctor told me to make like a 3-month visit after that one to like check up on how her weight is doing. I calmly did not make that appointment. I'm like,
I feel like that is just fat phobia. It's just this thing of like, we don't want her to just become plus size. That's
yeah,
kind of what it sounds
literally
like.
that. Mind you, kids grow at different rates, grow at different sizes. All kids are different. You may be a little chunky when you're little, and then you get older, your metabolism is fast. Now you're super skinny or whatever. Like,
Can't plan their whole life out.
yeah, you cannot just think that, oh, she's gonna be big when she get older, because my sister was just like that and she's older and she's just like a twig. My brother was the fattest baby ever. That's why his name is Bubba, and he is the skinniest ever. Like, he has a fast metabolism. It's like impossible for him to gain weight. So you can't look at a kid and just think, oh, they chunky, so they're gonna be big when they older. They've been saying that at every one of her doctor's appointments.
Let's also say that there are plus size people that are healthy and skinny people that are very unhealthy.
Very unhealthy. Yeah.
I faced a lot of that in medical care. Nothing to the extent of women, let alone Black women. You were right about what you said about needing more Black medical professionals because in certain fields, especially like dermatology, my situation, I felt completely uncomfortable, discriminated against. I never went back to that doctor. And I had gotten an email saying something about like, oh, it's been a year since your last appointment. I passionately switched to a new dermatologist that I'm looking forward to meeting. To be able to touch upon Black women in healthcare, I wanted to discuss a recent situation that did take the media by storm. A lot of people spoke out about it on TikTok. We're going to be talking about Adriana Smith. If you guys do not know about her, who she was, or what happened to her, I will have a clip playing right now.
The most dystopian, fucked up things that I've seen, and I've seen every episode of The Handmaid's Tale. This is Adriana Smith. She was a 31-year-old nurse from Georgia, and she was declared brain dead in February. Like, gone. No brain activity. Legally dead. But because she was 9 weeks pregnant at the time, the doctors were forced by law to keep her on life support for 4 months. What the Not because she had a chance, not because her family wanted it, but because Georgia's post-Roe heartbeat law, it gave a fetus more rights than a dead woman. They turned Adriana into a real-life handmaid. Not even a woman anymore, just a vessel. And they used her body like a incubator, a breeding pod, a goddamn government-assigned surrogacy machine. And you know what else is fucked up? Her mom was begging to let her go. She had a 7-year-old son who just thought mommy was sleeping. But Georgia was like, nope. Gotta keep the corpse running. We've got a fetus to finish. No consent, no dignity, just medical torture on autopilot. You know what happens when you're brain dead and they leave you on life support, for 4 months? Well, eventually your body starts rotting. So they ended up having an emergency C-section on June 13th. And then the baby was born, autopsied, I think. 1 pound, 13 ounces, fragile as fuck. They named him Chance. 4 days later, they unplugged Adriana. She was finally allowed to die. After, she'd done her job. Just like that. Thanks for the fetus, ma'am. You may now be disposed of, like she was some goddamn used toaster oven. This is what abortion bans do. They don't just ban abortion. They commandeer bodies. They turn dead women into vessels. And then they dump the aftermath on grieving families with no plan, no support, and no soul. That baby might need 24/7 care for life. He might never walk. He might be blind. And who's responsible for that? The family. Not the lawmakers, not the state, not the pro-life crowd who forced this horror show into reality. This is where I lose my whole mind. Because this isn't just about Adriana. This is the end game of the right-wing Christian nationalist MAGA cult's wet dream. They'll chain a woman to a hospital bed to protect a fetus, but the second that baby's born and needs actual support, nothing. Nada. Good luck. No health care, no paid leave, no therapy for the traumatized family. Just pray on it and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. They want control of your body when you're alive. They want control of your body when you're dead. But the second that it costs money or compassion or actual infrastructure to care for the life they claim to protect, these people vanish faster than their integrity. And here's another thing. Who the hell do you think is paying for 4 months of life support for a corpse? You and I probably are. Adriana's grieving family probably is. But the ass clowns who wrote this law? Nowhere. They've washed their hands while the family gets handed a disabled child, a funeral bill, and lifelong trauma. This isn't pro-life. It's a death cult wrapped in Bible verses. It's pro-birth at all costs and fuck the living afterwards. It's state-sanctioned body theft. Adriana Smith deserved peace. Her family deserved closure. But instead, the state made them extras in some fucked up dystopian horror show. Written by politicians, funded by your taxes, and backed by people who wouldn't last a day caring for the babies they claim to want to save.
Adriana Smith was a 31-year-old registered nurse from Atlanta. She went to the hospital in February with severe headaches, but doctors did not treat her pain and sent her home. After returning home, she was later found unconscious in her bathroom and was rushed back to the hospital where doctors discovered clots in her brain. Now, if they just treated her when she first came, but
that back.
Yeah, okay. But she was declared brain dead, and due to Georgia's strict abortion laws, the heartbeat law, the doctors kept Adriana on life support to sustain the pregnancy. I just feel that just feels illegal. Like it
Yo,
made
illegal as fuck. So they basically made her like a human
an
incubator.
incubator. In mid-June, an emergency C-section was performed, and her son, Chance, was delivered at about 28 weeks, weighing 1 pound and 13 ounces. Adriana was removed from life support on June 17th and passed away. Her funeral was held on June 28th at Fairfield Baptist Church in Lithonia, where her family and community remembered her as vibrant, funny, and caring. The case has sparked national debate about how Georgia's abortion restrictions impact maternal health care, especially for Black women, and has highlighted the challenges families face navigating medical and legal systems under these laws. Family members say doctors told them they were required by law to keep Adriana on life support, but Georgia's Attorney General later clarified that removing life support from brain dead patients is not considered an abortion and is legally permissible. A GoFundMe campaign has raised over $460,000 to support baby Chance and the family.
Not only is this so heartbreaking, it's so frustrating. Oh my God, words cannot even describe how
Literally.
fucked up this was. When you first heard about the story, how did you feel? What was your reactions to
Well, when I first saw the story, I was probably scrolling on Instagram or something. I immediately thought that she was probably like, 8 or 9 months pregnant, due date right there, and they were just gonna like give her a C-section type of thing until I read into it and saw that she was only like 9 weeks pregnant. So I'm like, why? Like, it's like they think like as oh, it's not cookie cutter. She's pregnant, yada yada. She's not 16 weeks pregnant. She's not 25 weeks pregnant. She was literally, that's around the time most women even find out that they're pregnant.
Yeah, like there was
Just
so
a woman who died when she was pregnant is like, it's nothing you can do about that.
you guys made it so much worse.
Yes. Is it sad? Yes, but you guys made it worse. You made it worse. You forced this baby to be here. Who knows the type of complications he has and will have. She also has a 7-year-old son already. So they forced her to be on life
Had
support
to
for
watch
this
his mom
baby,
like
and he
that.
had to watch his mom like that for months and didn't understand why she wasn't waking up. Like, how heartless could you be?
But
But I feel like that was literally just an experiment. Like, call it what they want. Oh, the laws, whatever, abortion laws. That's not an abortion. Them pulling the plug would not be an abortion. You're not extracting the baby from her uterus. You're not taking it out. You're not giving her any pills, any misoprostol. You're not giving her any of those things. You're literally just pulling a plug, and she's a pregnant woman who died. Sad, yes. Nothing about that relates to abortion. That's the thing that I didn't understand. What does the abortion laws have to do with a pregnant woman dying?
had she been a white woman, do you think anything would have been different?
I think they would have let her die in peace. They would not have kept her body like that, no.
What does this reveal to you about how Black women are treated in healthcare? Again, this was honestly nothing new. There's been so many women that have died from having their babies in a hospital and kind of being like neglected. I remember seeing so many.
Yeah, there's so many cases of those because after pregnancy with the hemorrhaging and stuff like that. But since when you go to these hospitals and they don't believe that Black women feel pain, they think that when we say, oh, this is feeling funny after birth, they just think that we're making it up.
Even though the whole field of gynecology came about from experimenting on Black women's bodies.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you guys feel this thing where, oh, Black women don't feel as much pain or Black people don't feel as much pain or whatever, and we do come into the hospital telling you we feel pain, even with your racist, bigoted mind, don't you think you should believe us since you don't think we feel pain? It's just backwards.
A lot of backwards thinking. What really also got me about this is she was a nurse.
Yes.
She was a medical professional, her damn self.
Herself.
And it reminded me of that episode of Grey's Anatomy with Miranda Bailey. She didn't want nobody like her friends and all her coworkers and stuff to know at the hospital that she worked at. So she went to a different hospital. She had said that she was having a heart attack. Like the episode literally started with her walking in the hospital and being like, I'm having
a heart attack. Yeah.
And I believe that I am having a heart attack.
It's a common thing for women to have heart attacks and show no symptoms whatsoever. Dr. Bailey is literally a surgeon. If
She
a
was the
surgeon,
chief
she was
during
the
that
chief
time.
of surgery. Chief of surgery coming into a hospital telling me that something's wrong with them. Automatic help. They were sending psych people down there thinking she was crazy.
Crazy.
The
Yeah.
viewer, they had me thinking she was bugging until I saw her literally faint after helping them help a woman that was also having a fucking heart attack. It was just ridiculous how they did her.
That's what the episode was on. It's like women don't show the typical signs of a heart attack like men do. We can have a heart attack and not know it. Like you can have a heart attack and not even feel it as a woman. Sometimes you don't even feel it or as the symptoms. You would only like probably see it on like the EKG monitor.
Probably.
Probably, yeah, because sometimes it won't even show. It's just like women show heart attacks differently than men. And being that she was also a Black woman, you know,
it highlighted how Black women's pain and suffering is never, ever, ever taken seriously.
Taken seriously at all.
My sister Mecca, shout out to Mecca, and her friend, shout out to Kita. We did brush upon the whole Black women in healthcare topic in season 3, like I had said earlier in the episode, talking to them about the experience my mom had in medical care, specifically when it came to giving birth to my brother. I have a brother with cerebral palsy who is handicapped. His whole birth literally was the result of doctors not taking her seriously because she was explaining to them that given what she had already gone through labor wise and everything with my oldest brother, her first child, she was telling them that she cannot push my brother out. However, the doctor felt like he knew it all. They still insisted on her pushing my brother out, and he ended up choking on his umbilical cord, losing oxygen, eating his own feces, and being born blue. Till this day, and even up until like, obviously before she passed away and stuff, it was like, till now, my mom always wondered what could have his life been like had they listened to her.
Had they listened to her. Mm-hmm.
It ties into what you said, the single Black mom stereotype. Mm-hmm. It's like, especially if you're coming from like a low income area. To you guys, not only do Black women not feel as much pain, but you guys don't think that they're smart enough to even know what's going on with them. I'm feeling something. I'm going to tell you, you're not in my body. The only thing that you can do as a doctor is try your best to figure it out, run tests, make conclusions off of those tests, and try your best to help me. But if I'm telling you that I'm feeling pain, I'm not making that shit the up.
Exactly. This reminds me of the little girl from the Cosby Show. What's her name? Oh, her name is Rudy Huxtable. Keisha Knight Pulliam. Well, her. I think it was like a regular interview thing. When she was talking about her experience when she had her first child, she gave birth. And the doctors or nurses actually came to her, asking her like, "Oh, do you want to sign up for WIC? Oh, do you have like," and asking her about her insurance, if she has like Medicaid and stuff like. Automatically assuming that she was just like this poor single Black mom, asking her, "Do you need this and do you need that, or you can sign up for this and all of these resources?" And she's like, "No, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm good." First, when I first, I'm like, "How you don't know who the fuck this girl is?" I would see her and go crazy, but her tax bracket is different. She probably was in a different hospital or whatever the case, and it was just nothing but white doctors, white nurses, and they're asking her about WIC and if she wants to sign up for these resources, and does she have anyone coming, or what, or does she have this for the baby, and do you want to take this for the baby? And she's like, "I'm fine, like I don't need any of those things." And then she realized, oh, they're stereotyping me. Glad she's okay. She had a good birth. Like they were offering those resources, just trying to be nice, but don't
They
realize
still had that lack of understanding.
Yeah. It didn't come from a hateful place, but the fact that you're just going to this room to this Black woman, mind you, the white girl next door probably need that stuff, but you're not going to her room.
Yeah.
You come to me.
Isn't white people the most on welfare? Ooh.
Yeah.
So situations like that further the gap, because even though, thank God, nothing necessarily happened in terms of her receiving the medical care itself, still have that disconnect between a Black woman and a medical care professional.
I saw this post like a few months back. I didn't even screenshot it or anything. I was just like, wow. And I heard about this happening a few times actually. So this Black woman, she had her baby in the hospital. They called CPS on her because the baby had bruises. Now, when Black babies are born, my kids had it. I'm pretty sure I had it. I remember my son had it all down his back and like thighs. Sometimes the babies are born with like this green mark. Black babies are sometimes born with Mongolian spots. These are flat, bluish, grayish, or blue-green, like birthmark looking marks. It could be on the back, their thighs, their butt. They are caused by melanocytes, the cells that produce melanin, being trapped in the deeper layers of the skin during fetal development. Cells that create melanin was just like stuck in one place. That's what it says. Their melanin has to like fill in that green space. When the melanin isn't there, it's green. While they may resemble bruises, they are not bruises and are harmless. They called CPS on her because they thought it was a bruise. It can look like a bruise, but as Black people, we're born with it. So now these white people are calling the CPS on her thinking that she abused her newborn child who's a day old.
You can tell it was like something that was just unfamiliar to the doctors. You would think in this day and age we would know that, though. You're
Yeah,
right.
like it's no way that we're in this day and age, and when it comes to the medical school, that y'all don't learn the differences and how things could show up on white babies and brown babies and Black babies. A lot of things show up differently, a lot of different rashes, a lot of different marks. It shows up differently. And a lot of Black women has gotten CPS called on them simply because things show up differently on our skin.
Black women, like we already said earlier, face higher rates of complications and during childbirth.
The only thing I was scared about during pregnancy,
My sister too.
surviving it, was like literally surviving it.
What do you think needs to change to prevent that? You know, like to protect Black women's health during pregnancy?
Don't be racist. Like, don't be biased. That would save so many lives.
If Adriana's case could spark change, what change would you hope to see?
Stop experimenting on Black women. I think we've been experimented on enough. The type of care you give just based off of your bias, had you guys gave her care from when she came in for her headache, mind you, it's like, I feel like if someone is coming into the ER for a headache, it's not just a headache. We all get headaches. You know what a headache is, you know it'll go away soon, or you take a nap or whatever. Everyone gets headaches. But if you have to come into the ER for a headache, clearly something's wrong. You've had it for days. It would not go away. It's getting stronger. If it's a headache that someone is coming into the ER for, something is wrong.
I'm not a medical professional, but if a woman like her is coming into the hospital and I'm a doctor and they're telling me about how they're having all of these headaches, really, really bad headaches, my first thing to do is run scans.
Exactly.
So I kind of want to know exactly what did they even do? Because
a lot of times is also when it comes to hospital, yes, they're biased as far as being Black. They're also biased about being a woman. Period. When women go to the ER for things, they give you a pregnancy test all the time. Even if you're not even sexually active, a woman gets a pregnancy test immediately. And they do that just to be safe. Like if you are there for something and you need a certain medication, they don't want to give you a medication that would like compromise your pregnancy or something. That's if you want to, keep your pregnancy. So they make sure if you're pregnant or not, just in case you do need any type of medication when you leave here. So they know what type of medication to give you. However, when they see that you are pregnant, a lot of times any symptoms you're coming in for, they just say, oh, it's the pregnancy. Oh, it's because you're pregnant.
they sweep it away.
Yeah. Because headaches is a symptom of pregnancy. I used to get them when I was pregnant with Ariel. Mind you, I suffer from migraines, but when I was pregnant with her, I got them every single day of my pregnancy, from the day I found out to the day I had birth. Had to have at least a headache 4 to 5 days out of the week.
Wow.
Whole pregnancy. The whole 9 months.
Or anything you could take.
The most I would take is Tylenol, but I didn't want to overdo it with the Tylenol. Eventually, I kind of
Had to get used to the lifestyle.
Yeah, eventually I got used to having headaches for 9 months. Thank God that nothing was like really, really wrong as far as my brain and stuff like that. But just seeing my history with migraine, if something was really wrong with my brain, they probably would have just threw it off like, oh, it's because, it's a pregnancy thing. I got migraines since I was a kid. I forgot what medication I used to be on, but I was prescribed a really, 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 really strong pain medication. I forgot the name of it. I think it started with an X or a Z, something like that. It wasn't no simple word. It was a big ass word. I was prescribed it since I was a kid. And the last migraine, very, very bad migraine I had when I was a kid, it lasted for a week, 7 days, never went away.
And how was your migraines now?
Now, as an adult, it calmed down tremendously. It calmed down a lot. And now I know how to navigate them. Like before, when I was younger, it was just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. But now as an adult, I kind of know what to do. Like, I'm like, all right, dim the lights, sleeping mask. As an adult, I know how to like handle it now.
To help this woman out. Severe blood clots like this, what was this tied to? Did they just appear? Did she have like a medical condition that you guys probably just didn't figure out? Like,
and then she's also one of your own. It's like she's also a nurse. Not saying,
you would have thought she would have gotten a little bit more privilege just because.
Right, like just a little, like, all right, let's check this, let's check that. Just off the sake of. She didn't even get that.
Do you think the hospital was at fault or the government?
They both are at fault. The hospital for not doing their job the first time and her having to be in a coma in the first place. And then the government for forcing this.
It's y'all neglect that put her in that predicament anyway to be brain dead.
They both played hand in hand with it.
So we discussed abortion in season 1. How do you feel about abortion and all of these abortion laws?
I am pro-choice. I will never agree with a bunch of white men telling women what to do with our
Oh, but it's women in that too. It's women.
No, yeah, it's women. They're just insurance policies.
Clock it.
What you do in your life doesn't affect me in no way. In no way, shape, or form will you having a baby affect me. It won't affect my pockets. It won't affect where I go. It won't affect me at all. Why do you care about what someone does with their body? You're not pro-life. You're pro-controlling women. Because when they have these babies, where are the
And
resources?
that's my thing. Oh, you should have your baby. No, have your baby. You're gonna have your baby. You should have your baby. Take care of it then when it's born.
Exactly. Like, where are the resources? Because it's pro-life, 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 but then y'all want to take away Head Start. Then
Head
y'all want
Start
to
and
take away
all of this
SNAP.
shit.
Then y'all want to take away
How is the
Medicaid.
life
Like,
still gonna
hello?
live once it's fucking born?
Like, make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. You just want to control women. That's it. You just want control. Because when these babies is born, y'all are gone. And then let her give up for adoption. She still gets heat. Like, you want to control all these babies being born. What about all these kids that need to be adopted?
First of all, the foster care and adoption system, just period, already being faulty. Because women don't want to just have the kid be born and then have the kid be neglected, have to deal with all of those issues. Let me just get rid of it now.
Even when like the baby is ill, like you have to have like a medically induced abortion for your health.
There are so many situations, even ones that I read about a couple of years ago, where like women actually had to have an abortion or they would have.
Yeah, that happens
Not to
too.
mention the whole thing about victims and stuff like that, and little girls being forced to carry this baby, which I'm automatic they should be able to get.
And then it's like, if you're so pro-life, pro-children, all of that, why would you want to force a child to bear that? Nothing about you is pro-life.
It's pro-life.
The whole controversy about school lunch being free for kids, it wouldn't even be a controversy. It wouldn't even be a debate. It wouldn't even be a back and forth. Feeding children, if you're pro-life, if you're pro-children, it wouldn't be a debate about feeding them.
No, that was also part of the reason for why a lot of these like abortion laws was being passed out. It was really just so more white babies can be born, because a lot of mixed babies have been born. A lot of, the white population has started to die out. You remember hearing that?
Yeah. When some guys be like, oh, well, why don't I have a choice too? The father of said baby wants the baby, but the mom doesn't.
Because you're not carrying it. And
But you're not carrying it. Like, I understand it. I empathize with it.
Emotionally, sure.
Yeah.
Physically?
You're not carrying this baby. No matter how hands-on, a lot of the responsibility falls on the mom. Always. You can't breastfeed. You're going to go back to work. She's going to be home. A lot of it falls on her. A lot of it falls on us. A lot of it falls on the women. So yes, I do get to say so.
Moral of the story, it's the person who's in that predicament of needing an abortion's choice on what they want to do with their body, whether you're a woman or a person with similar anatomy. Shout out to all of the Planned Parenthoods out there and the organizations that are still going out of their way to really make sure that women and people with similar anatomy have options. I am going to put a link to the season 3 episode where we discuss Black women in healthcare in the description below. Oh my God, in so many ways, this country is just going backwards.
Exactly.
Stay tuned. The Freedom Savage podcast will be right back.
And when they ask who that, he that real big boy with the dress, and he does the music on some real shit. And my love for the mic is complex because it's very truly connects so many songs and even out.
Turn on your mics. We're back with the Freedom Savage podcast. We are in our second segment, Freedom of Speech Part 2. In this segment, we will be discussing queer rights and the transgender community and trans folks' experiences in healthcare. I wanted to definitely give light on this situation, not only being that it's such a hot topic, but it often gets extremely overlooked because we can't even have this conversation without factoring in that it's been literal hell in this country since November.
Yes.
6 months in, we're already in a war.
That the man caused, by the way.
That a man caused, by the way.
So I usually don't discuss politics, nor have I ever been deeply invested in it, but Right. Around last year's elections, I made it my mission to stay as informed as possible without burning out emotionally. It felt necessary for me as a minority in this country to stay engaged and fight for the rights of myself and those who look like me and those I care about. It's clear that many US citizens allowed their narcissism, ignorance, and lack of critical thinking to guide decisions at the ballot box in November. Trump's victory was a glaring reflection of the persistent disrespect this country has for Black women. I'm not shocked by any of the fallout from his presidency because so many people went out of their way to not vote for Kamala Harris, which in my eyes essentially paved the way for this outcome.
Since returning to office in January 2025, President Donald Trump has pushed forward a series of policies that have deeply impacted marginalized groups, particularly the LGBTQIA+ community. His administration has been relentless in its attacks, specifically targeting transgender individuals with harmful legislation. This is just one more chapter in his ongoing assault on anyone who doesn't fit his narrow, privileged worldview, the white, heterosexual, cisgender, billionaire male. Tati and I both follow and deeply support incredible advocates like T.S. Madison, Laverne Cox, Hope Giselle, and many more who have tirelessly been fighting for trans rights and for everyone's rights, long before Trump was elected again and even now after his return to office. Their dedication and resilience continue to inspire us every day. To me, it often felt like because they're queer, their voices were largely unheard by the mainstream, even though they were speaking out when it mattered the most. We noticed that more and more people online are now echoing exactly what we've been saying about what's been happening since Trump's presidency. Again, he's only been back in office for 6 months and we're already in a war. The impact, obviously, is already being felt. That's why I'm going to share a series of clips that capture a lot of the points that Tati and I have been making perfectly. And to my people who do not care about what's going on with the queer community, who think that none of this affects you or ever will, and to those who actually support these queer-phobic attacks, these clips are for you.
At the end of the day, trans people are less than 1% of the population, and trans people are not the reason you can't afford eggs. We're not the reason that you can't afford health care. We're not the reason that you can't buy a house or your rent's too high. Yeah. I think they're focused on the wrong 1%. Ooh. I think the other 1% is the reason for all those things.
Trans people are a perfect population to road test authoritarianism in the United States because it's such a small group of people that you have convinced other people that they shouldn't care about. So you can actually experiment on the cocktail of regulations and laws that you'll then expand to wider populations because they fundamentally understand that their policies are unpopular. And the only way that they will sustain them over time is to remove people from public life that can have an influence in voting and protesting and making their voice heard over time. So they have to shrink who's actually defined as an American. And all they're doing with trans people is experimenting on how to do that.
Can we unpack the delusion here? First of all, I sat here and I listened to you talk about the LGBTQ community in the schools. I do have friends that voted for Trump for that exact reason. They felt like, well, I don't want LGBTQs to be represented in the schools. It doesn't matter if they're represented in the schools or not. We still gonna have gay people. And I want y'all to know that unfortunately, some people are just born gay. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, we're not going to eliminate that group of people. And if we are being truthful about what America was supposedly built on, the land of the free, where everybody could be who they wanted to be, this is the place that you're supposed to see yourself represented somewhere in the world. When you look on television, when you open up a school book, just like you want to see another black or brown woman or black or brown man represented, those people want to see themselves represented as well because they work hard, they contribute to society, they taxpayers just like everybody else.
I voted for Trump because I thought that his racist policies were only going to negatively affect those black and those brown people. I didn't realize he was also sexist and classist and was going to make working conditions for the average American worker more difficult or put small agricultural farmers out of business or not let women work in the federal government. I didn't realize that making the world unlivable for some would eventually affect me. Oh, you didn't realize? But it was fine so long as those black and those brown people were suffering. Okay.
I need you to say it because you had said this shit and I was like, this.
Why does the Grindr app keep crashing at Republican rallies?
Craig, the writer Stewart, actually put it perfectly.
Catholic priests or these ministers of these churches, senators and shit, people in government, they get caught, they're exposed as this married senator from Connecticut, da 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 da. I think that what happens is when you suppress a part of yourself, eventually it erupts and it has to go someplace. I think you can kind of suppress it for a very long time, but it's somewhere around 28 and 30 because you're kind of becoming more of who you're going to be. You're shedding this side of yourself where you care about what people think. You're coming more into your own. These men who are creating legislation in government, they are married, they live in a suburb somewhere in Massachusetts or wherever the fuck they live, and they're creating policies against LGBTQ plus people. But then you find out they got a Grindr account because they don't live a gay life. They don't move in gay circles. They don't have gay friends. They're not interested in a relationship with someone of the same sex. They, again, bob and weave between the straight and gay worlds. They only come over on this side to get off, to have sex, but they live a straight life. They have children. They have a wife. You understand? They're not interested in participating over here. But I think what happens is after a while, because I always look at these stories, I'm like, why would you put yourself at risk like that? Those feelings overtake you and you can suppress it for as long as you can until you can't. We see these stories all the time and they never make sense, but until you think about all of the years that they suppressed it and then they got on their website, on their computers at work. It's always the same kind of a story because they're trying to deny a part of themselves. And you can't do it, but for so long, you can't.
Right. Politicians are the biggest hypocrites you're going to ever meet in your life. A lot of the attacks that has been plagued upon against the queer community have just been dog whistles and distraction tactics to actually steer us away from the bigger issues at play. And I remember you saying that when men stop obsessing over power, the world will be a better place. According to reports from Ivana Sarik at AXIOS, that was the website, there was an executive order banning transgender athletes from female sports. Trump signed an executive order banning transgender women and girls from participating in women's sports at federally funded schools. Schools that don't comply risk losing federal funding and violations. This order also pressures international leagues, including the Olympics, to adopt similar rules. There was executive orders banning federal funding for youth gender-affirming care. Trump signed another executive order banning federal funding for gender-affirming care for youth under 19. It also directed the Department of Health and Human Services to review medical literature on gender dysphoria in children and pushed to withdraw federal funds from medical schools and hospitals researching gender-affirming care, even though major medical organizations like the AMA consider this care essential and potentially life-saving. Imagine living in a country ran by a man who's basically telling you that because you are who you are, your life doesn't matter. Trump ordered an issue declaring that the federal government will only recognize two sexes, male and female, on legal documents like passports, removing recognition of gender identity. There's been several videos this year of women being interrogated, thrown out of bathrooms, spied upon in restrooms, all over the country. I cannot tell you how many videos I saw of altercations of this happening to cisgender women, which tied into something that T.S. Madison said also.
Transphobia affects all women.
There's a lot of females that I've seen come after T.S. Madison and other trans women. You still have women that are so subservient to patriarchy and that are so blinded by all of the ignorance that they really do not see that trans women are not the enemy. As a cisgender woman, do you feel like you have to compete with trans people? Do you find transgender people to be a threat to you? How do you feel about transgender people?
I am not threatened by transgender women. I do not feel I need to compete with transgender women. I am not like.
Is trans women calling you sis really the biggest issue when there are men out here still referring to you as bitch, hoe, female, my ball? Oh my gosh, who said that? Did y'all hear that?
Hey girl, hey. Name a trans woman, just one, who has personally made your life or the life of a woman that you love harder. I'll wait. Can't think of one. Now ask yourself that same question, but replace trans woman with man. And not just any man, a white man. A white man in power. Now we're telling the truth, ain't we? Got a longer list, don't we? Because while you were out here burning bras just to turn around and wear aprons for patriarchy, the actual threats, the ones sitting in the boardrooms, passing laws about your body, spiking your drinks, and backing judges who wouldn't know the consent if it subpoenaed them, were never the trans girls. It was the Bretts and the Chads and the Tuckers and the Dylans, the very men who sell you the lie that we are the danger while they gut your rights, erase your wages, assault your daughters, and smile doing it in a Navy suit on C-SPAN. Trans women didn't close Planned Parenthood. Trans women didn't repeal Roe. Trans women didn't fire you for being pregnant, underpay you, or sexualize you at 12. Trans women didn't steal your autonomy. We are fighting for it and fighting for you to get it back. You've been fed a horror story by the big man himself, and the gag is you believed it. And now you're out here quoting feminism like scripture while making backroom deals with the men who want wives that they can silence and replace with AI. So if your feminism isn't going to include Black women, poor women, queer women, and yes, trans women, then it ain't feminism. It's just patriarchy and lip gloss. And when they do come for you, because baby, they will, just remember that you were warned. We tried to link arms, but you chose your abuser because he offered you a seat at the table that he built from our bones. Good luck with that, sis.
You cannot dictate somebody's sex just by looking at them, especially now.
I've seen a few videos about, well, this one that circled around a lot. I'm pretty sure everyone has seen it at this point. Of this woman. She is
heavily masculine.
Yes. And she went into the women's bathroom because she is a woman. Were they police officers? They weren't wearing
looked like fucking army or something.
Yeah, like I don't.
National Guard or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they went in there because they were trying to tell her, oh, you got to use the right bathroom. Like she has to go in a boys' bathroom. And she had to lift up her shirt to show them that she's a woman.
What also gets me about the bathroom situation is you have trans men a lot that are passing. Like
that. So it's like those same men that stopped her would have to stop a trans man with a full beard and everything that is passing. It's just I feel like when he did this executive order, they were only thinking for trans women. Mm-hmm. They don't care about the trans men. They only care about trans women. They don't care about the trans men who are passing and obviously they look like they need to be in the damn men's room. They don't care about them. They care about trans women only.
And we also seen another executive order directed to the Department of Defense to create new policies that could lead to a full ban on transgender people serving in the military, claiming that expressing a gender identity different from one's sex doesn't meet military standards.
My thing is with that, it's like, what does that have to do with serving? Where's the correlation? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Again, back to my thing. Why is it your business? Why do you care about what anyone does with their life? Why do you feel like it affects you? What does someone being trans have to do with them serving in the military?
I should be lucky that that's even the case.
Exactly, because if anybody does not need to be serving for this country, it's them. It's anybody LGBTQ. It's anybody Black.
Or both.
We don't need to be serving both women.
You don't need to be serving the money.
Don't need to be serving shit for y'all. You're lucky that they're there.
Trump has also worked to dismantle DEI, which is a whole nother topic that we will most likely get to in the future, but it also affects those who identify outside of the binary. With all of that being said, healthcare is the central issue that we wanted to make here. I just wanted to touch briefly on all of those topics just to extend our support. The queer community needs our support, and I remember T.S. Madison saying in that TMZ clip,
the trans community is the Black community. How can we separate the two?
Whatever happens to them, it's gonna happen to the Black community. You know what I mean? Like, we're all minorities at the end of the day. Just because they're going out the one don't mean that we not next.
Yeah.
Before we even tap back into healthcare, I did want to also quickly say this. Transgender people, nor is queer people as a whole after y'all kids, okay? Y'all kids are being hurt and unalived at home.
That's what I was about to say.
No,
mind you, the leading pedophiles are
presented. Yeah. Yeah.
Your pastor?
And I feel like statistics.
The whole fucking Republican rally?
Gypsy Rose, Naziah Harris. Oh, these kids were hurt at home. Gabriel Fernandez. Wait, was that her name?
Hernandez, I believe. Mm-hmm.
Hernandez. Like, oh my God.
The statistics even show when children are abused, it's at home.
Anytime you send me something about like a kid being hurt or unalived on Instagram and like we're talking about it because it was like made this big situation, I always respond with, I don't see a drag queen, do you? I'm just.
And what I hate the most is when the cases that come up when it was a gay male who did this to a little kid, they make that everything. You see, this is why, mind you, this one compared to the 20 that it's the pastor, it's the father, it's the uncle, it's the this, it's the that. You're going to blow this one up because he's gay.
You would be surprised how many straight women are Pedophiles
That too. Every week I'm seeing a teacher being arrested.
for getting
Yo,
into a relationship with a damn
it's a student.
6-year-old. Like, what
Like,
the
yo,
hell? We're also not even going to talk about how society encourages behavior like that, right?
yes.
Because we
Because
have,
on the comments under those things, when they post about it, it's always men. Like, oh, I wish that was, oh, that boy's so lucky.
oh, you don't want this being taught in school to my kid, but straight people sexualize their kids the most. Oh, he handsome. Oh, he my little boyfriend. Oh, he gonna have a lot of little girlfriends when he grow up. How many? Oh, if I had a dollar. If I had a dollar for how many times I've heard bitches.
Yo, when I had moved to my apartment I'm in now, and I switched my kid's school, I went the first day, I filled out paperwork, everything now. It was the first day for him to come. Why the freaking lady in the main office talking about, oh, he fine? I think she caught my drift because she switched up. I was like, what?
That very much.
What? I didn't even mean to do it like that, but I was just like, and then she kind of backtracked and was like, oh no, he's so handsome, whatever, very, handsome little boy.
When you attack trans healthcare, you are attacking healthcare. It's important to note that while these executive orders are being enforced, some states have pushed back. 15 state attorney generals issued a joint statement reaffirming their support for gender affirming care, stating that care decisions should be made by patients, families, and doctors, not politicians. That also reminds me, y'all, get out there and vote for y'all local officials, mayors, whatnot, because they also play a big role in contributing into like what law goes through, especially for your specific
The
state.
biggest role. There's only so much the president can do. What matters most is your local officials, your local judges, your local mayors. Those matter more. When they overturned Roe v. Wade, left it up to the states, it matters who is in those local seats.
Yeah. Don't vote for no mother that's not for your rights. Okay.
Exactly.
What are the biggest misconceptions about trans healthcare and how can we help educate others to clear them up?
Whatever I see on social media and things like that, as far as trans people telling their own stories, when they come into the doctor or they come to the hospital, whatever the case, I don't feel like it's always like a psych evaluation. It's like this thing where it's like, oh, it's a mental thing, and you sure you don't need to talk to someone, or you sure it's like, why just because they are who they are, you feel like they need to talk to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a therapist or whatever. Granted, we all need therapists, but it's just the whole bias thing about it, thinking that like there's something mentally wrong with them.
Gender affirming care is something that people rush into or get the idea that it's just about surgery, when in all reality, it is a process that involves all different types of medical care. I think another misconception is just that gender affirming care is like really dangerous. I think that's a really big misconception. Like, oh, it's life threatening. Like, this can a child, when in all reality it's actually life-saving, and it's supported by major medical organizations and science itself to work. If we share more accurate information, we can clear a lot of these like misconceptions up. I actually have transgender friends who are both, like receiving their gender affirming care, thank God, but they have both expressed to me how they are a little bit wary of things now. One of my friends was literally telling me, he's a trans man, and he was literally telling me about how like he needs to take self-defense classes and stuff like that because he's already been like ridiculed and called things this year. It's already this feeling of like, now I kind of have to keep my head on like a swivel because of this climate that we're in. What do you feel like we as allies can do? Again, it's something that really requires thinking because it's not lives that we live, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at the question as if we were both transgender. What would we want from our loved ones who weren't transgender to do?
Don't speak up for them. It's different from one person saying something as far as to a group of people saying something. Now you're really listened to, making sure that they're heard, making sure that, the people in the healthcare hear them, trans people, cisgender people. It feels like a competition or whatever the case, or like a battle. At the end of the day, the common denominator is the healthcare system. If we all just come together and demand these human rights, we would get the care that we need.
Like healthcare providers should start by getting training on trans health and cultural competency. Yes, I don't know why the fuck is that so hard. Trying to be smart, y'all. If they really learn to like use inclusive language and respect patients' pronouns and names, it could lead to better connections being formed and more of an understanding being formed on who they're taking care of. Kind of similar to what we said earlier about there being more Black medical professionals needing more of that in order to, be able to form more bond and trust and more of a connection with patients of color.
People are so invested in other people's lives. How about you just look at it as whatever they do with their life that has nothing to do with me? I'm going to provide them care. I'm going to do my best to because this is my job and this is what I made an oath to do. Don't be judgmental and biased and give the shittiest care just because you may not like their choices. It has nothing to do with you.
If you're a living, breathing person, you're getting care.
Period. It don't matter what you do or did in your life. It doesn't matter what you look like. I'm going to give you the care that you're here for and send you home safely. Like, that is it.
I hate that these things even have to be a conversation. Like you said, it really just boils down to basic human life at the end of the day. It shouldn't even be something to discuss. Why is this even being made to be a political thing?
Your belief, your bias, whatever is affecting how you treat me. That's crazy.
And I really love shows like SVU, which we always mention. I remember there was an episode where there was a trans victim and Detective Kit Kat, she told the lady at the ambulance,
Radio Mercy ED and tell them that we need a sexual assault nurse with trans experience.
She even checked the cop. He was like, a trans whatever. And she was like,
trans whatever? Seriously?
I like when shows point those things out. That's why I like Grey's Anatomy too. I'm actually rewatching it.
Shonda Rhimes just has a habit of making diversity and inclusivity and bringing awareness to things that people don't know about or not too privy to. She was doing that before it became a trend to do.
Before it was a trend. She was doing it since way back when. I'm still in kind of like the earlier seasons where one of the doctor's brothers was actually transitioning and he was having a hard time not accepting it. He was just having a hard time. He felt like he was lied to, yada yada. But I like shows that no, it's not easy, but it's also easy to just respect people. That's it.
Stay tuned. The Freedom Savage podcast will be right back. Did somebody call for the Don Dada? For all my New Yorkers out there that need their hair did, my girl Lily does weaves, braids, locks, ponytails, and natural hairstyles. You don't even need to leave the comforts of wherever you at. She'll come straight to you. DM Lily on Instagram at dream.styles1 to discuss pricing and all other inquiries. Quaygold's Beauty is a luxury business that sells essential beauty products such as lashes, lip glosses, matte lip gloss, lip scrubs, body scrubs, candles, and jewelry. Don't even let me hold you back. Go ahead and DM at QuayGoldsBeauty_ to get your hand on the products that you need. Turn on your mics. We're back with the Freedom Savage podcast.
What it's like is seeing straight out the movies. Brian Thompson got shabig walking into a hotel in New York, and a lot of people think he had it coming. Now, if you don't know Brian, he was the CEO of United Healthcare. But after he became the CEO, United Healthcare started doing some shady work, boy. Stuff like denying people their healthcare for non-emergency claims, but also telling people heart attacks and strokes and things of that nature wasn't emergencies. Yeah, so if your G-Mom fell over right now and her heart stopped beating, he would tell you it wasn't no emergency, you can wait, twin, and you're not getting any claim. I'm sorry. Now, a lot of people think it was a setup or a paid shabigging for multiple reasons, you feel me? Reason number one being, this man is a multi-millionaire. His salary is $10 million, and he was just walking around New York. No security detail, no shabig on him, no nothing. Reason number two being, the dude who did it literally staked the hotel out, waiting on Twin to walk up, did his due, and got away. They did not catch Twin. They still ain't caught Twin. Which is crazy to me, because y'all in New York, well, it's cameras literally everywhere, on every corner, in every vehicle, on every building. How y'all ain't catch Twin? And here's the kicker. He got away on a bike. This man literally fled on foot across the street, hopped on the bike, rode that bike into Central Park, and they lost him in Central Park, you feel me? And we ain't even got to the craziest part yet, because on top of all that, the dude who did it left little clues for the police to find, like he was sending a message or something. Like, on the shell cases, Twin, he engraved the words deny, depose, and defend. No fingerprints, just the words, left them behind for people to find. And when he did it, he had a little backpack on, you feel me? He dropped that backpack in Central Park, stuffed full of Monopoly money. Monopoly money, yes. Now, I don't know what that mean, but it gotta mean something. He ain't do that for no reason. Like, he left that bag in Central Park for them to find. All this make me feel like it might not have been no paid shabigging. Because if you're going to get paid to catch one, you're going to do whatever you can to get away without no traces. This man is leaving traces, you feel me? Like, I feel like he had a personal vendetta against his man. Like, maybe one of his family members got denied and goddamn ended up clocking out, you feel me? Something, but I feel like either this man is a villain straight out of Gotham or he had something to prove. But like I said, a lot of people think he deserved it.
As we look at the healthcare system as a whole, we need to look at the people running it. For Savage Court, we are going to be breaking down the case of Brian Thompson, the unaliving of Brian Thompson.
Brian Thompson was the CEO of United Healthcare, the largest private health insurance company in the United States. He took the CEO role in April 2021, having worked at the company since 2004 and steadily moving up the ranks. Prior to United Healthcare, he worked in management at PwC. Thompson graduated from the University of Iowa with a bachelor's degree in business administration in 1997. In 2024, he earned $10.2 million in compensation. At the time of his Thompson was reportedly facing insider trading allegations. A class action lawsuit accused him and other executives of selling $15 million worth of shares while allegedly aware of a Department of Justice antitrust investigation into the company, a lawsuit that remains active. He was married to Paulette Thompson and was described by his family as a loving father and generous man. Though separated from his wife at the time of his family expressed deep sorrow over his loss.
So what happened to him? On December 4th, 2024, Brian Thompson was shot in the back by a masked assailant as he walked into a hotel in Manhattan to attend an investor meeting for United Healthcare. The shooting took place on a public street near the Hilton Midtown Hotel in New York City at approximately 6:46 a.m. The attack was described as brazen and targeted. Surveillance footage showed the suspect arriving at the area and fleeing the scene after the shooting. Brian Thompson was shot in the back outside the hotel where the United Healthcare investor meeting was scheduled to take place. Despite the gravity of the situation, reports indicate that the meeting proceeded as planned, with some attendees and reporters walking right over the crime scene. Imagine stepping over he runs the shit. I just got shot. Y'all stepping over me, still doing the meeting.
First of all, the meeting still went on.
The meeting still went on.
Yo, I didn't even know that part.
I told you that, didn't I?
No, I never knew that.
Bitch. When I tell you these stepped over him, went into the building, no problem. Girl.
They probably set that shit up then. The alleged shooter is Luigi Mangione, a 28-year-old Ivy League graduate from Maryland. He was arrested 5 days later at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. Authorities found a handwritten document on Mangione expressing ill will toward corporate America. Investigators believe the grievance was specifically tied to U.S. health insurance companies. Mangione faces numerous charges, including federal charges of stalking, unlawful possession of a firearm, and by firearm. Multiple state charges in New York and Pennsylvania. The U.S. Justice Department has indicated it intends to seek the death penalty if Mangione is convicted.
Which is crazy and insane. And
death penalty for what? All he did was someone.
My thing is, first of all, I think he is still like pleading not guilty, but it's like when they found him, he was like ranting about healthcare. It was one of those things where it's like, you did do it, right? You get what I mean?
Break
like
that up so we can prove you didn't.
Yeah, very. Luigi reportedly suffered from like chronic back pain that seriously like affected his quality of life. He struggled to get the treatment that he needed because of insurance denials and limited coverage, which caused him a lot of frustration and despair. Investigators believe personal experience fueled.
Anyways, back to the conversation.
His anger toward the healthcare system, especially insurance companies, motivated his attack on Brian Thompson, allegedly. Adding to the note that was found, bullet casings recovered from the scene were engraved with words like deny, defend, and depose, which reference the controversial delay, deny, defend strategy that some insurance companies use to reject claims. These details suggest that Luigi's attack was meant as a statement against what he saw as corporate greed and unjust healthcare practices. The case has ignited national debate on the state of healthcare in the US, especially concerning the power of insurance companies and their impact on patients. Many Americans pay some of the highest healthcare costs in the world, and stories like this highlight the frustrations felt by people who perceive the system as unfair and unaccountable. Thompson's death underscores the deep tension surrounding healthcare access, insurance coverage, and corporate ethics. Morality became such a gray area during this case.
Yeah.
Was Luigi Luigi justified or in the right for allegedly unaliving Brian Thompson? How do we navigate the complicated morality in cases like this where personal suffering meets systemic injustice?
Was he right for taking a life?
Allegedly.
For allegedly taking a life.
All this information is alleged. He ain't do nothing.
Taking a life is not right. No.
However, comma.
However, comma.
In the event that he did do this, the reason why people kind of don't care is because a lot of people do see what he did as brave. You know, healthcare is something that people have struggled and dealt with for years. People supporting him also goes to show how tired we are of the healthcare system. I think some people are kind of looking at it as like a vigilante kind of act to support.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have their own stories. A lot of people literally have their own stories of their health insurance nightmares where they couldn't get coverage or they was denied or they had to pay or whatever the case.
He was failed by the system.
Mm-hmm.
With many other people.
Millions of others as well.
Violence is still a line that we have to be careful about crossing, of course. But it's this feeling of feeling ignored and feeling denied for your life. Your life.
I don't have a personal big experience of being like denied healthcare as such, but I do know the healthcare that I have to pay like $500 for one pair of contacts.
To see?
To see. Because my glasses give me migraines.
It's like you cannot make this shit up.
That's why I need glasses very badly. If you guys see me like this, it's because I'm trying to.
Tati's blind, but that's a whole nother story.
I'm blind as hell. I don't wear my glasses. First of all, they're broken. I can't wear them if I want to. Can't wear them for too long. They give me migraines. They trigger my migraines. So I do not wear my glasses. But then also squinting gives me migraines. If I squint for too long, sometimes I feel the migraine coming and then I have to stop myself from squinting. So it doesn't.
Like, I've been your friend for a minute and you do squint like when you're looking at shit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. Like sometimes I'm squinting and I don't even realize I'm squinting. I'm just trying to see. And I have to pay $500 for some contacts. One pair. You need more than one pair, but mine is I have to pay $500 for one pair. It's $250. $250 per eye. It's not funny. Why would you charge me for per eye? Like, that's insane.
That's fucking illegal.
The lady was literally explaining that to me. Yeah, she's like, it's $250 per eye. I'm like, what?
What if you only had $250? So you just see up one of your eyes?
I only down to one fucking eye. There are way worse health insurance experiences out there.
I was speaking to my grandmother about it. She sat with her arms folded at her table, like, about Luigi and everything. She didn't know what to say because she can write novels about her healthcare experiences. Should Luigi's actions be considered terrorism? Because you know they're trying to like charge him with terrorism if they haven't already.
Terrorism for what?
If they are doing it because of terrorism, I feel like that's more political and just tied to the fact that he was a CEO. It was your average one person goes to unalive another person. It was
premeditated, okay. Like, look, talking about terrorism, like, come on now. Y'all just trying to make an example out of him.
And to me, it oversimplifies things. Like when you say terrorism, you're trying to spread fear to advance a political goal.
I don't feel like this is political. This is more like a vigilante type of like.
I guess it has political undertones, but I feel like the media stuff make it more political than it needs.
Yeah. They're making it more political than what it is.
His actions seem way more personal than anything.
Yeah, it seems more personal than political. I seen an article when I was doing research before. There was a woman who worked for the United Health. I think she went on leave because she had cancer, medical leave. Why, when she came back, she was fired? She worked for United Health. I think she sued them.
This company specifically already had so much shit going on. But a lot of people came out to say that this company was like really shitty.
Yeah. Very, very. They fired her and they replaced her and she sued them. I didn't see any updates on it after her suing.
This situation forces us to ask how a society creates the conditions where someone feels that violence is their only option. So maybe it's not traditional terrorism, but a symptom of larger systemic violence. I do feel like he was placed in a corner in a sense. Like, no, I wouldn't have gone to unalive a CEO, but the frustrations, all of that shit that leads up to somebody doing that, they don't just up and do that on a whim.
Yeah, they don't.
I do feel like because he's just a white CEO, they're calling it terrorism. Should healthcare be considered a basic human right, accessible to everyone regardless of their ability to pay? Personally speaking, you should not have to pay to live.
Yeah, I was about to say that. You should not have to pay for healthcare. Me personally, I just feel like that's greed. Like, what if you literally can't afford it? That's why you see a lot of homeless people that have these weird rashes and they're sometimes they have diabetes and their toes is black or whatever the case because their healthcare is not free. Why should you have to pay to live? Like even the most basic healthcare would do. Like,
And nobody should have to choose between bills or 250 eye lenses. Like, this is a system that makes healthcare a privilege based on wealth. It's harmful as fuck. Everyone deserves access to care without fear of financial ruin. That ideal isn't just moral, it's necessary for those to be healthy, for a healthy society.
Yeah.
With all of that being said, would you find him guilty?
Guilty, yes, but sentencing, I wouldn't sentence him to life or anything.
I would have sentenced him to death. What?
Definitely not. I'd probably give him like a year probation.
His family gonna you up.
Guilty with 5 years probation.
He wouldn't be in jail for long, I'll tell you that. Like,
no, not with me in that seat. Not with me in that seat. First of all, he would be on bail.
that he would even be house arrest or something.
House arrest, bail.
I feel like if we were like the court, we should consider the context of his actions, the desperation caused by this systemic neglect. I know I keep stressing that, but I really feel like that's a big factor here. It doesn't excuse the violence, but it demands we address the root causes to prevent tragedies like this from happening again.
Be moral, have a heart, but that's what these insurance companies do. Even when you're signing up for life insurance, if you have a pre-existing condition, sometimes you're denied life insurance.
Really?
Mm-hmm. You're either denied or your monthly payments are through the fucking roof. It's a monthly payment. You can pick your plan, the type of plan you want, whatever, but it's a bill.
What is one thing that you think will repair the healthcare system?
Ugh, there's so many. But I do feel like it has to start with
acknowledgement. Ooh.
Yes. Everybody's working in this one hospital and you all feel like certain things aren't right. You can change it. You can come together to change these things. You can come to, you know what? I'm not working if this is not done. I'm not doing this if this is not done. Yeah. We literally have so much power, but I feel like the government succeeds time and time and time again by dividing all of us. We're all mad at each other. Everybody's mad at each other.
When they try to make the queer people the villains, it's like when you guys try to make us all bicker and banter with one another, it distracts us from the actual problem at hand.
Exactly. Because if everybody in this fucking country come together against this damn government, it would be so many changes that will never happen.
I just feel like this whole country was overdue for defibrillators, for real. Because no need to resuscitate. I'm already going. I hope that you guys really appreciated this episode. I love y'all so much and definitely stay tuned for everything that we have in store. We will definitely catch y'all on the next one.
There's a difference between hearing and listening. You get it. A passion, a spirit, a devotion. We're making magic. Come on and talk when you got the time.